On tonight's video, we're going to be installing a V2 MercRacing intercooler core for the 4OT engine. This is their upgraded one that's going to be bulletproof and provide some cooling effects for your 4OT. So if you want to know how to install it, stick around. Welcome back to the garage, everybody. This is Audi C7 Owners, and I am Cameron, and this is Jose Mercado of MercRacing. He is joining us in the garage tonight, and we're going to be installing a few upgraded cooling goodies from him for the Audi 4OT twin turbo engine. This is Tyler Hayes S7, aka Void Carbon. You guys know he makes awesome carbon fiber goodies and wheels. We are about to install the MercRacing V2 intercooler core. We're going to be doing a bunch of other stuff, but this video is dedicated to that. The reason you want to replace this with an upgraded one from MercRacing is because the OEM one, if it breaks, and they are prone to breaking, you're going to leak fluid and it's going to get pulled into your intake manifold, which is no bueno for your engine. So his is designed to be bulletproof, last you the life of the engine, as well as provide some cooling benefits along with all of his other stuff. So I'm going to get the camera reworked and we're going to show you guys how to pull the old one out and what to do to replace it. So we're in the working area. The first thing you want to do is pop off your coolant reservoir cap just to relieve any pressure. Be careful if it's warm. If it's hot, obviously be careful. You don't want to get any hot liquids on you. This is the highest point in the engine almost, so you shouldn't have a ton of coolant spilling out. But what we want to do first is remove the two coolant lines off of the intercooler core. So the first thing we're going to do is back off these clamps, which are not my favorite, but pretty easy to work off if you got a decent pair of channel locks. If you have hose clamp pliers, even better. But I don't have any good ones. So we're just going to pull those off all the way there. Oh, of course, this one's down here where I can't get it. We'll rotate it over. There we go.
Yeah, those are always challenging.
Yeah, I hate those things. I'd much rather have worm clamps, but it is what it is. So if this has been on forever and your OEM car, these might be a little stuck, so it's good to get a pick to get in here. We also have these two plugs. These are just your kind of regular plumbing plugs. I'm not sure if these are small enough to go in here. I have them just in case. We can pull them off and hopefully jam these in here to prevent any fluid from coming out. But once again, shouldn't be a lot of fluid in here. So we're gonna start working these off.
And,
oh yeah, they're definitely on there.
And then getting rid of some of the pressure on the coolant system.
Yep. Got the cap off over there. So, all right, I got my right angle pick here. A little bit thicker of a pick probably would be better, but we're gonna just break the seal, pull back on the hose slowly as we work it off. And that's too big. So plugs aren't gonna work on this one.
Well, the good thing, as you can see, there's not a lot of coolant. This is the highest point on the system.
Barely any came out of there, so yep, we're good. You just might have a burning coolant smell as you drive the car for a couple days as it purges it all off. There we go. Now we do have some coming off here. And you know what I missed? I forgot the cap for this.
And those are 5/8 measurements. So the 3/4 might fit there, but
yeah,
maybe a little loose.
That's huge.
Yeah, I'll keep it from doing a mess. But those are 5/8. So yeah, one of the benefits of the core too is we improve the flow by using 3/4 inch ports instead of the 5/8.
Oh, okay, so these are going to stretch when we put the new one on.
Yeah, right. And we provide bigger clamps, which you'll see later.
All right, the next step is to remove all of the T25 Torx bolts that hold the core to the engine. Now this does go into a plastic piece here, so be careful, especially when we go to put it back in. Don't over torque it. But there's, let's see, 4 on top, 3 on the bottom, 3 on each side. So that is 10, 13 total bolts. So these bolts on the bottom are a little tricky. There's not quite a perfect angle getting on there. If you've got some of the ball Torx bits, that would come in really handy here. If you go slow, you can pull them out just fine with a regular Torx bit driver. Just go slow and make sure you don't strip them out. All right, I'm gonna get these all collected and we'll work on pulling this out. Before we get to pulling this out, we need a little bit more space, and I'm talking just like 5 centimeters worth of space. So we need to loosen this top part of your front clip out. There are T30s on each end here, 1 on each end. We're just gonna take those out. Just set them somewhere safe off to one of the sides here. There's plenty of holes. You can tuck these in or put them somewhere on your workbench that you won't lose them. And then once you have this is where it's gonna be really helpful to have a friend. So I'm going to pull this back and Jose is gonna pull this out. And you just put a little bit of pressure.
Super easy.
And then once you have it out, just gently pull it out. Make sure you have gloves on if it's warm.
Yeah.
And then we got some stuff in the bottom here. We don't want this to go anywhere. I'm not sure what those are. I think those are just feet.
Yeah, those are just feet that go in the bottom piece here.
Oh, yeah, they just cover.
Those do not get reused.
Okay, so these feet, if you find them in the bottom, you just keep them with the OEM one. So we're going to put this somewhere safe where it can drain. Okay, so got the MercRacing core here. This beautiful, stout monster of a core. Let's point out a couple things. One, this is a bleed port. If you are only replacing this and you're not doing anything else, it's a good idea to go ahead and pop these off and fill with the appropriate antifreeze coolant for your car, because then you can avoid having to really bleed a ton of air out of this. But we're actually in the process of divorcing the entire system, so we're not gonna do that. We're gonna have to do a bunch of other stuff anyway, so we're just gonna pop this bad boy in. So once again, I'm gonna need Jose's help here to pull back the clip as we push it in.
Yep.
There we go.
Perfect.
And all you got to do is line up there. There is a gasket underneath this. You could see it in the video, the orange thing there. Just make sure that it doesn't get binded up or pinched up or anything like that. So now all we got to do is put the bolts back in and torque them up. Jose, do you know the torque offhand?
I do not. It's plastic, and I do not know the torque.
So probably 9 Newton meters, I'm going to guess. We're just going to do snug because you don't need a whole lot of force.
No, just to hold it in place, yeah.
Yep. All right, so we got the screws. It's just time to put these in. Remember, you're screwing into plastic, so we don't want to mess this up. There's a little stud here, right here. There's nothing that goes in this center bolt here, so don't try and thread anything in there. I don't know the torque spec. You could probably find them if you want to, but you just want to snug it up without over tightening because you don't want to strip any of these out. So just getting all these hand threaded in, and then we'll tighten them up a little bit, and it'll be time to connect the hoses. We got all the torques started, and so now I'm just going to tighten them up, and I'm just going to do good and hand tight without stripping them. I don't know if there's any torque procedure or anything, but I'm going to do what I normally do, and I'm going to go from side to side just to make sure this torques down evenly. I don't know if that's required or not, but that's what I'm going to do to be safe. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done, and then we will attach the lines. The last step of the install is to be putting the OEM lines back onto it. Now remember, these are these lines 1/2 inch, and the opening is 5/8, is that correct?
The lines are 5/8, and
5/8.
the opening on the core is 3/4 inch.
Okay, so there you go. The lines are 5/8, core openings here are 3/4, so you're going to have to stretch these out a little bit. We're going to take the OEM clamps off because we're not going to be reusing those. We're going to be using provided worm clamps from MercRacing, so let me get these off. Here you go.
Thank you.
All right, cool. We're going to get the worm clamps on. We're going to make sure we orient those where we have good access to them.
You may have to reverse that one.
You want to do it this way?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never done this before.
Yeah,
so.
they're since the lines are so tight together.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to try and start on the bottom. We put a little bit of grease on here to help us stretch this over the intercooler core. This hose does not want to go. There it goes. You could also probably use a nice little 90-degree right angle pick to get on there. Let me see the other one. Oh, there it is. Same way? Or the other way?
Yeah.
Yep. Flip that around here. That way they don't really fight with each other. And we're going to get that on. Here we go. There we go. Right angle pick helps get it on all the way. Like I said, you can use a little bit of soapy water here, even a little bit of coolant to lubricate the surface of those entrances to the core. We're going to slide those on, and we're going to tighten them down with the clamps, and then we'll be done with the actual install. Okay, so we've got it completely installed. The only thing left to do, if you're only installing this, you need to bleed your system. So if you're pre-filled it, you should have very little air in, and the way to bleed this, turn the car on, just let it idle, and then your bleed port down here, you get a flathead in here, and you just open it up, and you're gonna bleed it until just nice clear coolant comes out, no bubbles, then you close it off, and you're done. All right, so that's the DIY on installing the MercRacing version 2.0 intercooler core. Super simple, especially if you have a friend to help you. That makes it really easy pulling back on the carriage there to slide it in, bring the old one out. But all in all, this is maybe a 20-minute DIY if you're taking your time. So super simple with a really big effect. Protect your engine, get a little bit of cooling benefits, and hopefully we'll have some data logs. So check the description below. We're gonna try and have those for you as a before and after. But keep in mind, we're also going to be data logging with an upgraded heat exchanger, divorced loop, and an upgraded coolant pump. So it isn't going to be 1-for-1, but it is definitely going to help you out. So hope you guys liked the video. Say bye, Jose.
Goodbye. He always caught me by surprise.
I know, I always do. Like and subscribe. Leave comments below what you want to see in the future, what you think about this video, and if you have any questions. And we'll see you on the next DIY.